and welcome to Unraveled with Marvi Sarmat. These have been a couple of weeks of upheaval across South Asia. Monsoon rains have brought devastation once again. In Pakistan, floods and landslides have killed hundreds. While in India, urban centers like Mumbai were submerged after record downpours. So was there it in Karachi and other parts of region from Nepal to Bangladesh. They have also felt the fury of swollen rivers. Now, these disasters are a stark reminder of our shared climate vulnerability. But alongside these tragedies, the week has also, these last couple of weeks, they have delivered critical shifts in diplomacy and geopolitics as well. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi made a rare stop in New Delhi, his first in 3 years. That too before flying to Islamabad. And all this happened as President Trump, unusually harsh on India of late, is showing unexpected warmth towards Pakistan. So tonight we ask, what do these moves really mean for South Asia's balance of power? Let's unravel the story. So, talking about India China, coming from multi front anxiety to a managed thaw. Just weeks ago, after India's strikes inside Pakistan in May, senior Indian military officers alleged that China had provided Islamabad with real time intelligence on Indian positions during the Indian attack on Pakistan, which India likes to call Operation, oh, well, whatever, and even suggested that Bangladesh, along Pakistan and China, formed part of a multi front war scenario. Against that backdrop of deep mistrust, Wang Yi's arrival in New Delhi matters. And this time, it wasn't just symbolism, there were tangible outcomes. For example, border management. Both sides, China and India, agreed to strengthen a mechanism called the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination, WMCC. And I'll talk a little bit about this mechanism in a couple of minutes. But first, let me explain what happened. So, a new expert group was formed to explore steps towards boundary delimitation. Now, what WMCC expert group is? This mechanism, WMCC, the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination, it was set up in 2012 to manage border issues below the highest political level. Not the summary, but below that level. Now, this involves diplomats and military officials meeting regularly. Up until now, it was mostly about crisis communication and damage control after standoffs, like in Ladakh in 2020. It didn't address boundary delimitation, that is, drawing lines, agreeing maps, or even agreeing on principles of where the border lies, which makes the crux of the border disputes, boundary disputes between China and India. The creation of this expert group on boundary delimitation under WMCC is new. It signals willingness to reopen structured dialogue on the boundary dispute between China and India, something that has been frozen for years. Now, why I say it is significant? Because it is breaking the freeze. You see, since 2020, Galwan clashes, talks were limited to disengagement in specific sectors. The bigger question of the line of actual control, LAC, was off the table. Now, this expert group suggests both sides are now willing to move beyond this tactical disengagement to actual strategic talks. Also, India has consistently asked for a return to the pre-2020 status quo. China has resisted. An expert group on delimitation could offer small steps, sector by sector clarification that reduces the risk of patrol clashes and standoffs, which are, constant irritants between China and India. For Prime Minister Modi, agreeing to this mechanism helps show India is not simply conceding, it is pursuing for structured talks. For Xi, it shows Beijing is confident enough to engage without losing face. So, this new expert group, it doesn't mean India and China are close to resolving boundary clashes, boundary disputes. That's a Himalayan challenge, quite literally. But it reopens a channel that has been frozen for almost 5 years. Even modest progress, for example, clarifying contested sectors, agreeing new patrolling protocols, can significantly reduce the risk of accidental escalation in the world's most militarized border zones. For the region, that means less volatility, but also a new complexity. A managed India China thaw shifts the balance of US leverage in South Asia and forces Pakistan to recalibrate its foreign policy in this emerging regional realignment of the sorts. But equally important is the fact that Pakistan China ties cannot be underestimated. If you do it on your own peril. It is very much possible that China might be in on Pak US recent romance, and Pakistan also may have a buy in on Sino Indian Thaw. A lot to watch in coming days and weeks. But let's go back to our what happened during Wang Yi's India visit. So, WMCC on one side, and then there was the agreement on mobility and trade. India and China agreed to resume direct flights, reopen trade. Lipulekh, Shipki-La, and Nathu-La passes, and revive the Kailash Manasarovar pilgrimage. India will restart tourist visas for Chinese citizens, and restrictions on critical exports will also be eased. Then comes high level diplomacy. Now, this visit paved the way for Modi's expected participation in the SCO Summit in China, his first trip there since 2018, before the Galwan clashes. Both sides pledged to continue high level exchanges, diplomatic coordination, and even mutual support in hosting upcoming BRICS summit. These are not minor steps. They mark a conscious effort by both governments to pull the relationship back from confrontation into a managed, if fragile, thaw. How was it received in India? Well, mainstream opinion saw pragmatism, an economic and strategic breather at a time when Washington is squeezing India with tariffs. Nationalist critics attacked the government for concessions without guarantees, pointing to continued Chinese military buildup along the border, China India border. Business sectors, although welcomed the reopening of trade routes and travel, especially the easing of restrictions on vital imports. Now, the strategic question is what this means for India's ties with the US. Washington has long promoted India as the democratic counterweight to China, a bulwark against Chinese influence in this region. Now, as Trump ratchets up the tariffs and trade pressure, could Delhi overture to Beijing be used against it in Washington, or is this just India's doctrine of strategic autonomy at work, hedging to preserve its own space in a multipolar world? We will keep watching. Now, From all-weather friendship to CPEC 2.0, come to Pakistan, China. If Wang Yi's visit to Delhi was about testing the waters, his stop in Islamabad was about cementing foundations. The tone could not have been warmer and the outcomes more expansive. Now, about CPEC 2.0, both sides launched an upgraded phase of the China Pakistan Economic Corridor. Beyond highways and power plants, this next chapter moves into industry, agriculture, mining, with the promise of small yet smart projects focused on livelihoods. Beijing pledged to help Pakistan comprehensively import self development ability and resilience against external shocks. Pakistan, meanwhile, welcomed third party participation in railway upgrades, signaling an openness to Gulf partners and beyond. Now, talking about security and counterterrorism, after the deadly Dasu attack on Chinese engineers, the two countries agreed to holistic new security measures. They vowed to clamp down on the ETIM, the Turkestan Islamic movement, expand counterterrorism collaboration, and secure CPEC projects more robustly. China also praised the Pakistan army as a pillar of stability and steadfast guardian of bilateral friendship, something that he shares with President Trump, who has in recent weeks done the same. Now, moving on to geopolitics and especially Afghanistan. Wang Yi reaffirmed China's unwavering support for Pakistan's sovereignty and development, regardless of international turbulence. And in a notable trilateral, he sat down with Pakistan and Taliban foreign minister to discuss trade, connectivity, and joint counterterrorism measures in Afghanistan. That's truly smart. About the global and cultural coordination, both the countries, Pakistan and China, they agreed to prepare for the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties in 2026 and coordinate more closely at the UN Security Council, where Pakistan now sits as a non permanent member. This is Beijing doubling down on its iron brotherhood with Pakistan. In the very same week, it was extending an olive branch to India. For Pakistan, the gains are immediate: investment promises, security guarantees, and geopolitical clout. For India, it's a reminder that China can warm to New Delhi while still holding Islamabad closest. Now, let's not forget about Pakistan and the US. That's a transactional thaw at best. I would say. In Washington, Pakistan, as you would have noticed, is enjoying something it hasn't had in years: goodwill. The White House cut tariffs on Pakistani exports earlier this month, offering immediate relief. And Trump administration is entertaining oil, mineral, and even cryptocurrency linked ventures with Pakistan. And Islamabad was credited with helping capture a senior Islamic State figure, counterterrorism feather in its cap, and discussing counterterrorism efforts with US administration, Trump administration. The credit goes to Islamabad's diplomatic offensive, one that's been as much about military channels as diplomatic ones. This is not what do you say, strategic embrace. I think it is still transactional, as most of the foreign policy in global relations is. But in the moment, Pakistan is winning on both fronts: CPEC 2.0 with Beijing, tariff relief with Washington. The question is durability. Pakistan has been here before, defeated by Washington in one season, dropped in the next. For now, though, it's leverage that Islamabad can use. For New Delhi, the picture is less flattering. Uh, you know, there are strains in what used to be called natural alliance between India and the US. Um, just tomorrow, when we are recording this on August the 26th, on August 27, US tariffs on Indian exports will double to as high as 50% on key goods like textiles, gems, machinery, leather. Markets have already reacted, and the Indian rupee, is under a lot of pressure. Trump has repeatedly derided India as a dead economy and chastised it for continuing oil imports from Russia, reminded India of the six, or probably yesterday's statement, seven downed jets. This rhetoric and policy have jolted the narrative of the US-India partnership as a natural alliance. Instead of cementing India as a counterweight to China, Washington's pressure is nudging Delhi to hedge with Beijing. Hence the importance of Wang Yi's visit and the trade, travel, diplomatic reopeners, and all of that the visit has produced. So looking at from above, reading this chessboard. The so this chessboard now looks different than it did. I mean, just a few months ago. In May 2025, India struck Pakistan, then accused China of backing Islamabad with intelligence while warning of a multi-front war involving Dhaka as well. In August, China's Wang Yi visited both New Delhi and Islamabad, thawing one rivalry while cementing the other. The US is warming to Pakistan while hitting India with tariffs. And now, another surprise. Pakistan's Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar's rare visit to Dhaka, the highest level Pakistani visit in more than a decade, actually almost 12 years, 13 years. In Bangladesh, Dar and interim foreign advisor Tawheed Hussain discussed new channels of cooperation: visa-free entry for diplomats, cultural exchanges, and a new Pakistan-Bangladesh knowledge corridor. Dhaka raised the demand for a 1971 apology, which Dar sidestepped and reminded that Pakistan has already done this at a number of times and the issue has been resolved. But the visit itself was significant. A tentative thaw in ties frozen by history. So, looking at it again, India de-risking with China, worried about US tariffs, and suddenly seeing Pakistan reach out to Dhaka. Pakistan expanding its hand stronger with China, warmer with US, and exploring new openings with Bangladesh. China holding Islamabad close while re-engaging New Delhi. The US risking its India bet by privileging tariffs um, over strategy. Bangladesh playing pragmatism over history, keeping options open as the region shifts. The old certainties: India with Washington, Pakistan with China, Dhaka firmly in Delhi's orbit. Well, maybe not, maybe no more. All of this is crumbling. What's emerging is a multipolar South Asia where every player is hedging, maneuvering, and recalibrating. So, what comes next? Will India's tentative thaw with China ease border tensions or weaken trust with Washington? Will Pakistan convert its dual track with China and the US into sustainable gains and even thaw its relations with Bangladesh? And will the US, by punishing India and rewarding Pakistan, end up ceding more influence in South Asia to Beijing? These are the questions shaping the region's future, and we will keep you updated with these stories coming out of this recalibration. I'm Marvi Sarmat, and this is Unraveled. But before you go, subscribe, share, and join the debate. Do you think South Asia is moving towards a new alignment of power, or are we just watching tactical maneuvers in a cycle of mistrust? Please do comment underneath and I have left the question as the pinned comment. Have a very good night. Bye bye.